Democratic Congressman Jake Auchincloss posted the following on X this week. He said, shooting unarmed citizens in the head does not make America safe. Congressman, thank you for being here. Renee Good was driving an SUV. So does your post mean that you think SUVs can't be used as weapons?
Peter, good morning. Thanks for having me on. I think that this administration is trying to gaslight the American public, and it's not going to work because the American public can watch that video. You've got Kristi Noem calling it domestic terrorism. You've got Director Lyon saying it was the civilians' fault for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Here's what Americans see when they see that video. They see a young mother behind the steering wheel of an SUV with a cell phone and a whistle, who cuts the wheels to turn right away from the ICE officer and is shot 3 times in the head, once through the front window, twice through the passenger window, meaning the vehicle was already moving away at the time those shots were fired. The American public is not going to be lied to. They are going to demand accountability, and this administration must cooperate with Minnesota authorities to ensure a transparent investigation.
But I just want to go back to your post. You said that she was unarmed. The fact is, and we're running this video on the side of the screen, she did not make every effort possible to avoid the ICE officer who was standing in front of the car. Are you saying that a car cannot be used as a weapon?
Of course a car can be used as a weapon. What I am saying is when you have a badge and a gun and you are interacting with a U.S. citizen who has committed no crime, the onus of responsibility is on you to exercise good judgment and to use that weapon only as an absolute last resort. And nobody watching that video will buy the argument from that ICE agent that he had no other resort other than to shoot her in the face 3 times.
But so you are putting all the onus on the ICE officer. What about on Renee Good? She's behind the wheel of a vehicle. I've been pulled over by a car. I assume that, by a cop rather, I assume that if I start to drive forward, I might, that's against the law, and they might take action to stop me. Is that completely off base? This is entirely the fault of the ICE officer. Put more plainly.
To be clear, so Peter, what you're saying is, just so I can understand, what you are saying is if you get pulled over on the side of a highway, for example, and the officer grabs your door and attempts to prise it open and is filming you with another officer on the other side of the car, and your car moves forward away from the officers, you think your family would be okay if you then got shot in the face 3 times?
No, but I would think that I'm disobeying a law enforcement officer who's giving me an order while they pull me over for something. I think the point here, the question is, isn't there a better way for progressives who are upset with ICE policy to protest than getting up in their grill, possibly from behind the wheel of a car? Would you agree that that is not the best way?
Again, Peter, you're victim blaming here.
Not victim blaming.
No law enforcement officer.
No, Congressman.
No law enforcement officer should be doxxed.
Nobody is victim blaming.
About 2 minutes ago, I heard Director Lyon say that the civilian was at fault for being involved in that operation. Let's be clear here. You have a badge, you have a gun, you are wearing a mask. You are accountable for everything that happens or fails to happen in that operation. No law enforcement officer should be accosted or harassed or assaulted, and there should be penalties of law for so doing. And no U.S. citizen should be afraid of their own government, and that is what ICE has created. They have stopped being an arm of the law, and they have started being an instrument of fear.
So I want to play this video. The mayor, Jacob Frey, is dismissing the threat posed to the ICE officer who almost got, he says, he thought he almost got run over by a car. Listen to this.
I mean, the ICE agent walked away with a hip injury that he might as well have gotten from closing a refrigerator door with his hips. He was not injured. I've seen worse injuries from doing that.
To the best of our knowledge, the mayor said that without talking to the ICE officer about his injuries. So how is a comment like that any different from dismissing the assassination attempt on President Trump by just saying, well, yeah, he got shot, but only in the ear?
Yeah, physical violence shouldn't be dismissed. But the point is here, that the Minneapolis mayor is trying to respond in real time to the gaslighting of this administration. Within minutes of this event, Kristi Noem called it an act of domestic terrorism. How is that in pursuit of turning down the temperature and pursuing a transparent, accountable investigation? Here is where ICE should be focused. As opposed to assaulting U.S. citizens, they should be looking at the 29,000 unauthorized immigrants who they told Congress last year have convictions for murder or rape and are still at large. They have not detained, to the best of my knowledge, even a handful of those individuals. Indeed, a majority of those they have detained have no criminal conviction whatsoever. ICE is not making America safer right now.
So something Director Lyons said before this segment, he said that ICE wouldn't be on the streets if local authorities would just cooperate and enforce some of these detainers. Go get the murderers. Go get the people who are accused of sex crimes against kids. So why don't the local authorities just cooperate?
I think Director Lyons might need a lesson in the 10th Amendment and federalism. Local law authorities pursue criminal and civil convictions for state and local law. ICE is meant to execute against federal civil immigration enforcement. And we do need federal civil immigration enforcement. Indeed, Peter, I'm the co-sponsor of legislation called the Dignity Act that would upgrade our immigration code to secure our borders, to change asylum definitions, to allow for more due process, both for agents and for individuals detained, to create a better system. But this idea that somehow this is entirely a state or local issue is just not how the Constitution works. Well,
we really appreciate you coming on to give your side of the story. It was sporty, and that's good. So we appreciate it. Congressman Jake Auchincloss, hope to have you back soon.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.